The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. And when we talk about our code, we talk about choice, organization, direction, and education. And we help hundreds of advisors across the United States, whether they're insurance professionals, attorneys, CPAs. They reach out to us for insurance advice. We are completely independent. We both do what I call wholesale. We're like the broker's broker, where an insurance broker comes to us for various ideas, concepts, and product information and programs. And we also work directly with you, the consumer, to help you in your needs. And we hope to do a great job, and everybody's got a different set of circumstances and needs. And a lot of us are very busy. We're working 2 jobs, 1 job, and we don't take the time out to take care of ourselves. And we have to think always to help rely on other people to help us accomplish our goals. You know, one of the things that just came up yesterday, as a matter of fact, while it's fresh in my mind, I want to bring it up. I had one of the listeners come and do some work on my house, so thank you. You did a great job. And, you know, his daughter's going to college, and I just want to let him know and other people know there are lots and lots of resources if you're planning for your child to go to college. And one of them is your high school. You should reach out to the guidance department in your high school as a parent, not just your child, as a parent, and discuss all the different options for financing, for this, for that, the different schools. They're a tremendous resource. You're paying for these people through your taxes, and that's what their job is to help the child, but also to help you, the parent, with lots of heavy-duty decision-making. We can help you on the finance side, of course, and we know enough to help you, you know, what the right assets are and how to prepare. But there's things like a FAFSA form that you need to fill out that has to be done correctly, which is a federal form, so you can get financial aid or federal grants and loans. And then there's all kinds of different programs that, you know, if you're doing that kind of work, especially the high school counselors, and there's lots of other people that make a profession out of this, but seek out the help if you need it, and spend the time so you're not in panic mode when it comes crunch time, because life keeps going on and life keeps changing. Today I really want to talk about an article I read, several articles, but one is a statistic: 4.1 million people per year in the next 3 years till 2027. That's the last of the baby boomers will be retiring. That's 12,000 people turning age 65, not necessarily retiring, but turning 65 a day. 12,000 people over the next 3 years in the United States. That's an amazing number. And one of the biggest things that we talk about is protected income. So the biggest thing is Social Security may provide some of the income at retirement, and most people go through their savings. And the problem is we're outliving all of these things. And the people that are really successful and figure this whole retirement thing out and have actually more money at retirement and can be able to do things, make sure their fixed expenses are covered. And for most people, Social Security is not enough. So they go through their savings, or we recommend some sort of protected income stream that you can't outlive. And that's taking part of your assets and turning them into an annuity and annuitizing, making an income stream. And if anybody still has a pension, and I know there's a lot of pensions out there, or they're not familiar with what this annuity stream looks like, or they're on Social Security, well, that's exactly what they are. They're annuities. They're income you cannot outlive, and it's protected income. So what I always advocate for is, if I'm looking at retirement or having somebody, how much money do I need to cover my fixed expenses? Because I don't want to be dipping into my savings for my fixed expenses. Because if I live till 90, 95, 100, I'm going to outlive my savings, no matter who you are, and you have a nice lifestyle. And this is the biggest issue that people have, is that one is having that happen, or two, a fear of that happening. So you need to protect yourself with having a protective income stream. And the only way to do that is with a fixed annuity. With some of your assets, you want to create that income stream. And then if you're saving for retirement, what a great way of protecting your money through an annuity or a pension, where it's not taxed and it can grow and be protected and safe from a lot of creditors and other things. So it's a great way to grow. As a matter of fact, I always use the example of O.J. Simpson. Although he lost all this money in civil lawsuits and everything else, they couldn't touch his 401k and the annuities he had. And that's how he was still able to live a lifestyle before he passed, even though everyone was trying to take his money. So this is a phenomenon that's going on. And the biggest thing I read in the news, which is occurring, I believe, is a federal mandate where they're forcing all federal and civil workers to work in-house 5 days a week. This is very big news, and this definitely affects a lot of people's lifestyles. So what does it do? Well, one is you may opt to retire, sit at home for 6 months. They're throwing it out there. Well, are you prepared to do that? Are you prepared to have that income stream for later on? Do you have another job lined up? Or, is this something you're looking to do? Or that's something you have to consider. The other thing you have to consider is, all of a sudden you're going to be spending less time maybe with your child or elder care. All of a sudden, that flexibility of staying home is not there. And your expenses are going to go up as well. Because now all that gas you've been saving, I remember during COVID, I bought a new car and I said, man, this car gets the best gas mileage ever. I didn't take it anywhere. I was working out of my house. So I got great gas mileage. Well, I'm joking, but of course, commuting, gas mileage, and stress, not only is it going to change here on Long Island, it's going to affect everyone, whether you're a federal or civil worker or not, by having more traffic. There'll be much more commuting time and stress on roads and infrastructure and everything else. So everything that goes on has an effect not only on society, but on you individually as well. And how are you prepared to make these changes or things? Are you properly positioned to adapt to the changing world that you can't control? That's the question. So we help you navigate that. And everybody hits bumps in the roads, and I don't care who you are, behind closed doors, everybody's got issues, whether it's a child, a parent, or this or that, or illness. There's always issues. But you need to seek out the help of professionals to help guide you through that process. And that's what we help you do, because it is a process, especially if you're facing retirement or you're facing the fact that, okay, now my kids are going to college. Now what? How am I going to pay for it? The time to think about how to pay for it is not now. Maybe it was 20 years ago. Maybe it was 5 years ago. Maybe it is now. But the time to prepare is certainly much earlier. But now that you're at crunch time, it's easy to make the wrong decisions or bad decisions when you're pressed up about having to make decisions. So knowing that there's lots of decisions going on that you have to make, Sit down and let's talk about it. You're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. If you miss any of my episodes, you can catch me on Apple, you can catch me on Spotify, but the easiest way to get a hold of me is to give me a call, 631-647-4694. That's 631-647-4694. We'll be right back after break. Thank you. Welcome back to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. Best way to reach me, once again, 631-647-4694. Before we went to the break, we talked about a couple different things, about life-changing and different things going on in our lives, in our professional lives, in our personal lives, that we have control over and things that are not in our control. But how do we face this? Do we face this with fear, or do we face this with anticipation and preparation? And I like to think that we have to be prepared for change. Change is happening. Big change is happening. Immigration changes are happening. Going back to work after working in maybe a hybrid fashion and having to go into a building for 5 days a week and getting on the road and commuting, it's a big change. Retiring, big change. Kids going to college, big change. Having a new baby, big change. All these things are very important, and they're all happening. And sometimes to some people it's happening at the same time in many different fronts. And, we all tend to get really discombobulated and confused and upset, and where do I turn? And, listen, the time to make preparation, not change, is today. It's never too late to prepare. You may not have all the answers, but at least if you have plan and backup plan and plan A, I always like to have plan A, plan B, plan C. And I always compare it to, I'm a big Knicks fan, so, and I like sports in general, but even any sports team, you need backups. You can't just have all starters. You need a backup plan. What if this guy gets hurt? What if this happens? What if this happens here? Now, a lot of this stuff is on-game decisions. A lot of our decisions in life just happen. God forbid you're in an airplane and you get in an accident with a helicopter. I mean, I hate to say it, but in a second, everything changed. And that's the way life is. Everything changes in a second. And you can't prepare for everything. But the more things you can prepare for, the more you can cover up, whether it's the gap in Social Security and your income to cover your expenses, as I mentioned earlier, about having annuity, having a long-term care event, all of a sudden you're dealing with mental incapacity, or, you're losing your grip, or your parents losing their grip on things, and they have to make changes, and you have to help guide along that process. It's not just a financial, it's emotional. We understand. It's you. It's your life. It's your thing. But a lot of it's financial. And the worst time to make a decision, as I said once again, is when you have to. So if you're not prepared, that's the worst. Even the high net worth, wealthiest people that I do business with, and some of them are well north of $100 million, as well as people that, everyday people. But even the high net worth individuals, you think everything's great in their lives. Well, you know what? They got problems too. If they have to sell real estate to pay taxes because a loved one has passed, and in order to pay Uncle Sam, they have to liquidate their real estate, what do you think they're going to get for that real estate? You never get what you want when you have to liquidate. Even a professional sports team, you have a player that's, all of a sudden his statistics aren't looking so good, and he's not as attractive, and you want to trade him, all of a sudden he loses his trade value. And then where are you? So you need to plan, and that's what we do. Now, we talked a lot about your income is so important because you want to cover your expenses after retirement, of course, prior to retirement, and you want to get rid of credit card debt and do all that kind of good stuff. And there are ways, effective planning tools to do that. But, what are some of the other solutions for you? Well, I do have a crystal ball because that's what statistics are. And my crystal ball says that over 70% of the people that turn 65 or older, over 70% of you will have some sort of long-term care event where you're going to need care outside of Medicare, outside of medical insurance. You're going to need care either getting in and out of your house or getting in and out of your bed, driving, eating, taking care of yourself. You're going to need some sort of care. And I guarantee the government will not be there to protect you as well as you would like it to do. Yes, there is some things called Medicaid and stuff that the government does do some assistance, but your Medicare and your health insurance don't take care of it. You need to do long-term care planning, whether it's through a solution, through an insurance solution, or other financial, legal solutions. That planning has to be done. You can't wait until an event happens and then say, okay, I want to plan now. It's too late. That's the problem. You can't plan after you have an event. So that the earlier you plan for all eventualities in life and know the crystal ball. See, we have the crystal ball because we know statistically what's going on. That's what you have to go by. That's why you have statistics. That's why you have probability. You know the probability that, hey, I know for 100% we're all going to die. Okay, we don't know when, but I know 100% of us are going to die. Okay, what happens? Okay, I know another thing. So over 70% of us are going to need some sort of care. If not me, my spouse, or both. What are we doing to prepare for that? Okay, these are odds. Hey, listen, if I was a bookie and I had these odds, I'd say, well, I'd want to hedge my bets a little bit, right? That's what you do. So that's why we have long-term care insurance, and that's why we have life insurance. These are the tools. These are the tools that help. They're not the only tools, but these are part of the solution in planning. So whether it's creating an annuity with an income for life, providing life insurance for your heirs, your children, your wives, your spouses, your brothers and sisters, or leaving behind a legacy, or just protecting your own legacy, protecting yourself from taxation, long-term care, or death. Those are the big three. Or disability, not being able to work, not being able to do your job. Okay, disability is so many people are underinsured and don't think about it, or and they don't have advisors to bring it up. It just amazes me. When you look at most foreclosures in the United States and around the world are because somebody became disabled and lost their income because they couldn't work. That's why we have disability insurance. It is the most important thing to have, and I'd say such a small percentage of people have it. And the biggest reason is they think they're covered at work. We get that every day. Oh, I'm covered at work. How much are you covered at work? Is it enough? I don't know. Is it portable? Do you know what that word means? Is it portable? I mean, if I leave that job and go to another job, do I bring it with me? If you have it at work, no. If I become sick or whatever, can I get it again? No, maybe not. We don't know. So the idea is you got to take care of it. Now, one last topic before I leave today that I want to talk about, and we're going to talk about it at length in another show. Not only are people outliving their income, they're outliving their insurance. What a big deal. So that's where these life settlements come into play. A lot of insurance that we took out 10, 20, 30 years ago only lasts maybe to age 85 or 90. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing so many people that find themselves in a situation where, A, they can't afford it anymore, or B, the insurance is just not going to cover them unless they give them an extraordinary amount of money. And that fear is huge. It's happening every day. And we do a lot of what we call life settlements where we have people buy your policies in those situations. So that's happening more and more because we didn't expect to live as long as we did. So our preparation was great, but our preparation changed because it changes all the time. Life is about change. Change is here. You have to embrace it and deal with it, and that's what we help you do. You've been listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. Best way to reach me is 631-647-4694, or reach me at themainstreetcode.com. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.